Hi there everybody, it's Jackie here from stampingjack.com. It's Monday, it's 8 o'clock and that means that it's time for Facebook Live again. Welcome, I'm just going to check my setup, so as you arrive just leave me a comment so I know you're here. Just 1 second. Right, let's have a look and see how we're doing. How are we? Are we on? Let's see. Oh, we've got some people popping in. Leave me a comment. Let me know you're here. There we are. We're on. Let's just see if we can fix this light a little bit. Oh, I've got a thumbs up. Excellent. So, hi Jenny. Welcome. Welcome. Hi Sue. It's good. You're probably all coming in now. That's great. Hi Doreen. Welcome. Welcome. Right, so while everybody's coming in, I've got some really big news for you today. And that is that tomorrow, that's the 23rd of October, we're having a 24-hour sale. Hi Anne, welcome. Oh, thanks for sharing, Jenny. Oh, go get the kids from school. Nice. I hope they have a good day. Right, so hi Jude, welcome. Our 24-hour sale. So starting tomorrow, there's 15% off certain stamp sets. When I finished, I shared a link about 7:30, a little bit earlier on my Facebook page, which lists out all of the stamp sets that are on offer. So all of these stamp sets are 15% discount just until 10 to 11 tomorrow night. So make sure to check out the list and to get your order in before then. But what I thought I'd do, because obviously you can't really read them on here, is some of these ones I already have. So I just wanted to help show you what some of them are. So one of them is Friendly Expressions. I love this stamp set. And yeah, I just love the script and the different font that goes with it. It's fantastic. Hi Diane, welcome. The other one is a big thank you. This is another one that was new in the annual catalogue this year. I've used this before I've used this before in a live. I just love the various images on this. I think it's great, and I love the "You are the best" sentiment on here. It's fantastic. Apron of Love, which is a great one. Brushwork Alphabet. It's always great to have an alphabet stamp in your arsenal. Absolutely. You could do personalised sentiments and things on that. Vertical Greetings. I love these vertical greetings. Great name. Because I think I used it on the card a little while ago, but I just love how they're just a bit different to the ordinary horizontal greetings, and these images are lovely too. So that's a perfect one. Then we've got One Wild Ride, which again is a fantastic got the motorbike and some nice masculine sort of images there. But you use the congratulations and life's a journey, enjoy the ride. It's quite a good one actually. I like that one. Hedgehogs. This is so cute. This stamp set, absolutely gorgeous. And one of the others is this You've Got Style. Again, I love these images. Fantastic for colouring, and the sentiments are just brilliant. I love this. You can't improve on fabulous. Fantastic. So they're just some of them. In total, I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. There's 29 stamp sets on sale. And as I say, this is just until 10 to 11 GMT tomorrow night, the 23rd of October. So don't hang about. I'll repost the link once I'm done here so that you've got it nice and easy. Okay, so that's one thing. Next, we need to do our prize draw. So that's quite true, Jenny. That's quite true. I'm not quite sure what's in the US or any of that for any non-UK viewers. Good point, Jenny. Thank you. Right, so last week's prize was our set of clips, gorgeous paper clips, and the winner for that was Kat Elliott. So congratulations, Kat. Well done. And this week I've got some gold glitter flakes on offer. So again, it's really, really easy to win this. All you've got to do is share this video. It's as simple as that. And everyone who shares will be entered into a draw. And next Monday during my live, I will draw the winner. So there you go, a pack of gold glitter flakes. Alrighty, so tonight we are going to be playing with the Beautiful Baubles stamp set and also the coordinating dies, okay, from the Autumn Winter catalogue. I love this set. It was one of the top ones on my list. There were a few. It was hard to choose, but it was one of the top ones on my list when the catalogue first came out. And we made these cards at last week's card class, and we'll be making them at this week's card class, which is a repeat of last week. So Jude, you're on here. I think you're coming on Wednesday. So this is what we're going to be making. All right. So let's start. Where shall we start? Okay, let's start with, let's just clear some of these out of the way. Okay, make some room. So our first card is this one here. You see that? Quite a simple card, this one actually. So let me just ink up our stamp. So we've got the really large bauble. You can see this has been well used, this stamp set. Let's see. I'm going to use our large. Thank you everyone who's sharing. Good stuff. Good stuff. Great to see it. Very happy to see that. Thank you very much, everybody. Right, then we've got our deck the holes. And then we have our string. Now, quick tip for you. When you've got your photopolymer stamps and they're like a line like this, sometimes it can be hard to get them straight on your block because they tend to curl. See that? So what I tend to do is just lay them down. So this is the stamping side. So just lay them down anywhere you like. Just lay them down on your paper like that. And then they'll naturally just sit straight. And then if you just put your block over the top, there you go. Okay. Hi Lynn, welcome. Welcome. Good to have you. And then what else? I want the little bow. Okay, so let's do that one. There we go. All right, so we're ready to go. So this is just a little bit of stamping, and also we're going to create some lovely texture here with our corrugated textured impressions embossing folder. This is one of our super thick ones. So let me just bring in our pieces, put those over here out of the way. So we've got our card base. Standard card base. We're just going to fold that in half. Okay. Hopefully our signal will be a little bit better tonight because got something on the back there. Because I invested in a signal booster, a Wi-Fi signal booster during the week, because last week we had such terrible problems with the signal just dropping out all the time. It was awful. So hopefully this week it will be a little bit better. Right, so let's start with our stamping. So I'm going to stamp this large bauble in Night of Navy onto a scrap. Just grab a scrap. Onto a scrap of Whisper White. Okay. Give it a good press because it's a nice. Oh, I'm glad to hear it's clear tonight, Sue. It was driving me mad that the signal just kept popping out. I know if I'd been watching it, I would have just walked away. So I felt sorry for you guys. I really appreciated those of you who stuck with me. Okay, so just going to trim this out, okay? And I'm just going to cut, just leave a small border around the outside. And you'll see that I'm moving my card rather than my scissors, and that gives you a much cleaner cut. Okay. There we go. That's my only disappointment's not quite the right word, but I do wish that the coordinating die had this. This had a die to cut this out. I think that would have just made it absolutely perfect. Right, there we go. Okay. And let's just put that to one. Actually, I'm going to do the next step first. So on our sample, which is here, you'll see we've got some gold shimmer. In fact, on this one, let's give that a second to focus. There we go. We've got some lovely gold accents on here. And I've done these using our gold shimmer paint and a blender pen. Okay, so all we do is just give this shimmer paint a good shake. Okay, and then you should have, ooh, got big gunk in there. Get rid of that. Okay, and then you should have some in the lid here. So I'm just going to take my blender pen. Doesn't matter which side, but I am going to just scribble it to make sure there's nothing on there already. Okay, so before you ever use a blender pen, just scribble it to make sure that there's no ink from the last time. And all I'm going to do is just take a teeny tiny bit. Can you see that? Just a small bit. And I'm just going to dab it on the dots. Okay, like so. Now, you could use gems for this, but I think it's actually quite an extraordinary and extravagant use of gems. And I think this is a great way of getting all that extra bling without having to put lots and lots, use up lots and lots of gems. Okay, so I can really go to town here. I could colour the whole thing if I wanted, but I just want the dots. Okay. Let's do the centres of the stars. And then I'm going to do these bits here. And yeah, I'm going to do these bits here. There we go. Okay, and then when I'm done, I just scribble on my scrap paper until the pen runs clear. There we go. And then it's ready to go for the next time. Hi, Fran. Welcome. Good to have you with us. Right, put my lid back on. And I'm just going to put that to one side just to allow those dots to dry off. Okay, and whilst we're waiting for that, I'm just going to do my stamping. I'm going to bring in my red ink pad. I'm going to do my string. So I'm just going to by eye, I'm just going to do it roughly down the center here. Okay. And then I'm going to carefully bring this in and just place it here because I want to position my sentiment. So I'm just going to place my bauble, and on the basis of where my bauble is, we're just going to stamp our sentiment right there. Oops. Okay. Yeah, Jude, you are going to get mucky, but don't worry, I've got lots of wet wipes, so you'll be all right. Tonight's cards are quite sparkly. There's lots of shimmer and a bit of heat embossing and stuff going on. Lots of very opulent cards tonight, but still very, very simple. Okay, so there's our stamping done. So we're just going to leave that to one side, and I'm going to do the see, I've got it on me here. So now I'm just going to do the embossing. So let me just grab my Big Shot. So because this embossing folder is our dynamic, it's extra thick, the sandwich for this is a bit different to normal. So what you need to use is your regular platform, and you leave out the bottom plate. Okay, you put your, let me move this in. So we're going to put our cardstock in this way because I want my stripes horizontal. Okay, let's move this in so you can see. So I've got my base. Can you see that? Let me move up a little. There we go. So I've got my, sorry guys. So I've got my big shot platform, and then I'm going to put my embossing folder straight down, and then my plate over the top. Okay, and let me just run that through. The reason you don't need the plate underneath is because the embossing folder is so thick. And then it gives you this gorgeous, thick, corrugated effect. I love this. Absolutely love it. This is from the Autumn Winter catalogue, but, you know, corrugated, that's an all year round, all sorts of occasions type of thing. So don't need to limit yourself just to Christmas. Right, so let's bring our bits back in. Okay, so now we've got our red piece, and then that should be dry enough now to start sticking. So we've got our dimensionals. Okay, I'm just gonna pop those on the back. Whoop. You can see why I wanted to wait, but it will be okay. There we go. All right. So then what we're going to do is we're going to attach this panel to our navy piece using our wet glue. Let's see if I've got a glue that will work tonight. Bye, Jenny. See you later. There we go. And then just going to have it so that we've just got a border either side. Okay, and then what we want are, where's our dimensionals? I want a strip of dimensionals at the top and the bottom. And that's where these edges come in really handy. So I'm just going to put a strip at the top and a strip at the bottom. Okay, now we'll come back to our piece here, and we're going to put quite a bit of glue on here. Okay, I'm trying to use up my glues that are almost done. So there we go. Okay, and then we're just going to attach that to our card base like so. Get it nice and even, press it down, and then we can peel off our dimensionals. And you need to do this because this is quite thick, so if you try to just do glue on top of here, it would just be sticking out and it wouldn't look good. So that's why we've done it this way. And there you go, you've got your very simple Deck the Halls bauble. Shimmer paint for that lovely touch of gold, without using a million gems, which is always good. Okay, so that's card number 1. Let's pop this stuff away. And let's see, what should we do next? I think a bit of heat embossing next. All right, so next one we're going to do is, oh, the ribbon's falling off. This one here. Okay, and could you see the sparkles, this spritzing on here? That's using the shimmer paint as well. And again, this is really, really simple. So we start with a long card base in Tranquil Tide, and we'll just fold that in half as normal. I will at some point, guys, get around to doing the blog posts for these that have got all the measurements and dimensions and supplies on there. I am woefully behind, but I will catch up, I promise. Okay, so the other piece that we're going to need is a piece of, I'm going to use Merry Merlot. I'd used Cherry Cobbler on this, so I'm going to try Merry Merlot, okay? And then I've got a piece of gold. Now, what I've done here is, I don't like to just hide an entire piece of gold foil, behind a panel. I think it's a bit of a waste, just so to have a little bit. So what I always do is cut a large circle from the center, and I'll use this for another project. Okay, not tonight, some other time, but it's just a way of being a little bit more frugal. I'm not that frugal when it comes to my cardstock, but when it comes to my foils and things like that, then I tend to be a little bit more frugal. Okay, so we'll put that to one side and we'll prep for our embossing. So we need our embossing buddy, and we need our Versamark, and we're going to do gold, and we'll also need a new sentiment, which is Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So let's get that. Okay, so first things first, most important stage in embossing is your embossing buddy. Is to just remove all that static, grease, oil, anything that will make your embossing powder stick to anywhere except where you've stamped. Okay, so let's bring in our marble stamp. I'm just going to clean it off. Okay, so then ink this up with our Versamark. So when you've got a big stamp like this, sometimes it's better to bring the ink pad to the stamp. Alright, and we're going to stamp that there. There we go. We're also going to stamp our string. Clean that off. Okay. And you can see that with the Versamark, it stamps like a watercolour. Now, if you didn't heat emboss with Versamark, this is how it would dry. This is the effect that you would get. So you can also use it for that if you want. And then we're going to stamp our Merry Christmas and Happy New Year down the bottom. Alrighty. And then we're going to bring in, where's my piece of paper? Here it is. There we go. And then we're just going to pour our gold embossing powder all over, just like so. Okay. Let's give it a tap. Make sure we've got rid of it all. Yep, that'll do. And then we just fold our piece of paper in half and pour our embossing powder back in the tub. Okay. And now for the heat tool. Excuse the noise, ladies. And again, my tip for this is make sure you warm your heat tool up a little bit before you bring it to the card. Because what that does is it means that the card warps a little bit less when you do that. Okay, so let's bring this up. And here we go. Hi, Monica. There we go. Magic. Look at that turn. Isn't it beautiful? I've been doing this for years, and every time it does this, I just love it. There we go. There we are. Okay, so we'll just let that settle for a moment. We'll just put it to one side, and we're going to do our bow. All right, so we're going to do this the same way I always do my bows. I'm going to use this Tranquil Tide ribbon, but this is a double-sided ribbon, so there's a little extra trick to help you. Okay, so what we do is we make ourselves a loop and another loop. Okay, making sure that the ribbon between the loops isn't twisted. Can you see that? And then we just cross one loop in front of the other, like so. And then we take this loop here and pull it through. Okay? And there we go. Now, what you can see is that when we have our tails, before I pull the bow tight, is that you've got the velvet on one side and you can see the back. So before we pull it tight, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist it at the back like so, and then we'll pull it. Okay, and you can see that now we have 2 velvet. Okay, I'll do that again so you can see. I've done a whole YouTube video on tying bows this way, so you can watch it again if you like. Okay, so make our 2 loops, cross, pull the loop through, okay, and then holding the 2 loop ends and nothing more, pull, and that gives you your bow. Okay, but what I want to do is, because I have a double-sided, is I just want to give this side a twist and then pull to the side. So you just pull either end, and then to tighten you just do that, and then when you're pulling your tails through, you just hold the middle. So because I've pulled that, it's gone again, so you just twist it and then pull tight. Okay, so that's how I want my bow. Now I find it easier to tie my bows straight off the end of the ribbon, rather than cutting myself a piece that's not really long enough for me to work with. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, so now we can bring back in our piece, and we're going to do some spritzing. So we're going to bring back in our gold shimmer paint, and this time we're going to use an aqua painter, and I'm just going to get some scrap paper. 1 second. Because this might get a little bit messy. Do you know, Anne, cherry cobbler was always my go-to for Christmas, but Merry Merlot is giving it a real run for its money. It's just such a fabulous, fabulous colour. Right, so we've got our gold shimmer paint, and again we're going to give it a good shake. Okay, and we've got some in the lid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my aqua painter, and I'm just going to make sure, can you see that it's just wet at the tip. It doesn't need to be soaking wet, you just need to have some water in the brush. Okay, and then I'm just going to dip. You see that? I've just got some on the tip, and then all I'm going to do is hold it above my project and just use my fingertip to pull and flick the tip of the brush, so like so. Okay, bit like we used to do when we were at school with our paint brushes. Okay, and then I'll just add a little bit more. All right, so you want to do it from reasonably far away so that you don't end up with really big splotches on there. You just want a light shimmer. Now you could, because that's made me have a very messy finger, you could probably, no, I don't want to do that. You could probably do it with your bone folder, so let's try this. Yep, that works too. Okay, then I need to make sure I clean off my bone folder before I cut any more cards. So there, can you see that lovely shimmer? Okay, those dark spots are water, so they'll dry clear and that'll be fine. Just another great way to just add a little bit of extra shimmer to your projects using your shimmer paint. And then, just like with the aqua painter, just keep going off the edge with your brush until it goes clear, and then that's ready to use for another project. Okay, now we'll bring in our bow, and we'll get some glue dots, and because this is quite thick ribbon, I'm actually going to put a couple of glue dots on the back. Okay, I might do 3 actually. Okay, so we've got a good generous bit of, you could use wet glue if you wanted, but I just think glue dots are a little less messy. And then I'm just going to press it down above my bauble. Alrighty, and now it's time to assemble, which is really, really easy. We're just going to take our glue, our Tombow, like so, and we'll glue that to our gold piece. Now when you're sticking onto foil, just be aware that your cardstock will slip around a little bit more than normal. Okay, so just be aware of that, because obviously the foil is a bit slippery. And then we just put some more glue on the back here. I've gotten some glue on my surface there, so I'm just going to put that down. And then we just stick that on the front. Like so. Okay, so just be a little bit careful that you don't smear your shimmer paint spritzing. So there we go. We've got Cherry Cobbler and we've got Merry Merlot. While I clean up, let me know which colour you prefer, the cherry or the Merlot. I'm just going to clean up that glue a little bit. There we go. Alrighty. Let's pop that there. So let's see, what's our next one? That's that one. Next we'll do a really quite simple one. So the next card that we're going to make is this one here, using our Merlot. 2 votes for Merlot. Good, that seems to be the favourite. Well, you'll like our next card then, because we're using Merry Merlot for that one. Merlot, ooh, I think we have unless we have some extra votes, another Merlot. That's 4 for Merlot. Oh, yeah, I think Merlot is the winner. Or is that just your orders for the bar, ladies? Right. Merlot, yeah. Nice one, Jude. Yeah, I think it's a pretty overwhelming victory for Merlot. Cool. Right, so next card is this one. Okay, so that's using this die here from the coordinating die set. Okay, so again, very straightforward. So let me just gather our pieces. All right, but just a little tip for you on adhering a detailed die cut like this. Okay, so make sure I've got everything for you. Now, alrighty. So, first thing we're going to do is attach our die cut. This is a piece of copper foil. Okay, so the last one we used was gold, this one's copper. So what I've got here is I've just got a little bit of silicone paper that I've just chopped up. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue on here. And then I'm going to take a sponge. Now this sponge I keep just for gluing. Okay, so ordinarily I use my fine tip glue pen for adhering fine dies, but there isn't really much on here. This is really quite thin, so I would struggle to get it on neatly here. Okay, you could use our self-adhesive sheets, but this is also a good way. So what I'm going to do is just pick up the glue on my sponge, okay, and then lay my die down and just dab all over. Okay, because you don't need a lot in any one spot. You just need a covering all the way around just to make the back sticky. Okay, don't know if you can see that, but we've got a light covering of glue all over. And then all we need to do is just place this down. Oop, got a hair in there. Don't want that. Oop. It's the joy of having long curly hair. It gets everywhere. It's worse than having a dog. So just lay that down carefully. And there we go. We've got our bauble. Easy peasy. We're just going to pop some dimensionals on the back of that. I can find them. Where did I put them? There they are. Okay. Oops. Alright. And now we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So the first thing to do is, without peeling the back off, is just place your piece down. Just for placement, so we're going to stamp the greeting, and I'm going to stamp that in Merry Merlot. Now, a quick tip for you with this particular stamp, okay, is the, I'm just going to place it on here, is because it's a scripty font, it's quite easy to get it crooked. So what I tend to do is, can you see the in the middle here? That's straight. So if you get your the straight, then the deck and the holes will all be fine. I've done it a few times where it just looks a bit pie-eyed. That was another word I was going to use, but that's not very polite. So, all right, so we're just going to stamp that down the bottom, like so. And then on our base, okay, we're going to take this tiny little detail stamp. I'm just going to bring back in my scrap. Okay, and we're just going to stamp all around the edge. Okay, we don't need to stamp too far in because our panel will cover it. Okay, so we're just going to go all around the edge. Just adds a little bit of extra interest. It's very subtle, so like that when you stamp on a cardstock with the same color ink, it gives you like a watermark sort of effect, which is really nice. Okay, there we go. And then we just lay that on top, make sure we've not got any obvious gaps in our stamping, so that looks fine. All right, and then we're going to tie another bow. All right, so do this exactly the same way as before. So I love this Marie Merlot and copper ribbon. It's just complete luxury, totally luxurious, okay? So we're going to make a bow, make a loop, make a second loop, making sure that the bit between our loops is not twisted. Cross one over on top and then pull it through. And there we go. Okay. And then for this one, now this idea, you can see on my sample, I've done my normal low bow, but Kat, who I'm not sure is on here tonight yet, Kat did a different bow which I really, really liked. So I'm going to copy her. So thank you, Kat. That's one of the things I love about the classes, is that I have the projects prepared, but when the ladies get hold of them and they do what they do with them and everybody's got their own ideas, you just get lots of extra inspiration from each other as well. So I'm just going to twist my ribbon like so, give it a bit of a curl. Okay, and then just it's a funny looking end, so I'm just going to trim that. Yeah, that's better. Okay, we'll get our glue dots. Well, first I'm going to adhere my bauble. I was getting excited and carried away with my ribbon. Right, so let's get our bauble down. Like so. Okay, and then we're going to put some glue dots on the back of our ribbon. So I'm making this just a much more generous and opulent ribbon, like so. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, where's my pokey tool? I'm going to take a glue dot, okay, I'm just going to put it on the back of my ribbon here. Okay, and then just adhere that down. Whoop, it's come off, hang on. Whoop. Let's try that again. Alright, so we're going to put one on the back here. It's sticking to me and not the ribbon, that's the problem. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to stick one further down. So again, we'll pop one off and then we just curl our ribbon and place the glue dot on the cardstock this time. Okay. Whoop. There we go. And then the same on this side, which I want it to curl this way. Okay, so we'll put a glue dot up here. Let's get this curl the way we want it. Like so. like so. All right, and then we're just going to stick this down with glue. Oop. There we go. And there we have it. Okay, now it seems to have gotten a little bit of ink on there. So let me get my Tombow eraser. Just 1 second. There we go. Ribbon through an embossing folder, Anne. That is interesting. Shall we try it? Shall we see? Let's give it a go, shall we? Right, so there we go. So there's our two. Let me know if you prefer the long ribbon or the short ribbon. And I'm going to do as Anne suggested and run this ribbon through the embossing folder to see what we get. Okay, 1 second. Will we get crimped ribbon? Let's see. Ooh! Look at that, Anne. You get crimped ribbon. What a great idea. That looks fab. Oh, I should be trying this on so many of my cards now. Thank you, Anne, for the idea. Brilliant. Excellent. So there we go. What card is that? Is that our 3rd card? It is. We're clocking through. Long ribbon. Yeah, I think I like the long. Oh, thanks for sharing, Joyce, and welcome. I think the long ribbon. It is different, isn't it? Cool. I like it. See, I love sharing this when we all share together and we get inspiration from each other. It's brilliant. Okay, so our last card is this one here. This is using a bit of colouring on here, but it's really, really easy. So I think we're enjoying the long ribbon, ladies. And I think I would agree with you. Well, I don't think I would agree with you. I know I would agree with you. Okay, so we need, let's just grab our pieces. Our bits and pieces. Okay, so for this card, we're going to use this die here. Okay, so what this die does is it just cuts out this bit. But when you add this piece around it, like so, it cuts out this piece. Just looks like a doily, and then you just put a circle in the back, or you put the circle back in. Really, really gorgeous. Okay, I have another sample card. I'm not making it tonight, but I've got a few cards at the end. Other stuff I've done with this particular stamp set, just to give you a few even more ideas. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is bring my Big Shot back in. Let's move those. Yeah, definitely the long ribbon seems to be the winner. Definitely the more luxurious option, isn't it? Okay, so what we've got here is we've got our regular Big Shot platform, our thin die adapter, and a very well used plate. All right, and then we've got our piece of real red cardstock. And I'm just going to line this up, this die up, near the top. And I'm also going to make sure that just one of these, see this long bit here, that's just level, and that we've got 2 bits at the side. Okay, there's no particular reason for it except that I just like it that way. I think it just looks properly centered, and you can see it's slightly towards the top because we need to leave room for our sentiment down the bottom. Okay, there we go. And then because there's quite a bit of detail, I'm just going to run it back through. There you go, Anne. one good turn deserves another, eh? You inspire me and I inspire you. So that's all about, right? Okay, so I'm just going to pop those, bring in my brush and my pad, and I'm just going to get rid of those. And then with my pokey tool. Now be aware when you're doing this, there's quite a lot of the bits here at the top are not meant to pop out, okay? They are just embossed. So don't go trying to poke them out again, okay? So that's what you get. So let's move this off. Oops. There we go. Okay, and now I've got a piece of cardstock that I'm just going to place. I'm going to place it behind my red piece, in that way. Okay, and I'm going to line it up to the top. See that there? Okay, and then I'm going to take a pencil and just very, very lightly draw a circle. Okay, like so. Doesn't have to be precise, this is just to give you a guide for your stamping. All right, so now let's bring in our stamp. Okay, we're going to do some heat embossing on this one as well. Okay, so we'll bring back got our Versamark, and we're going to I need my silver embossing powder, which is there, and embossing buddy. Okay, so as usual, embossing buddy over the top first. Okay, and then we're just going to ink up our stamp with the Versamark, and then line it up using the circle, because that's what we'll be able to see when we lay our layer on top. Okay, so I'm going to put my head in here, so I want my bits there. So when you do this, you'll want to get your head right over this circle so that you can see exactly what you're doing. Okay, and there we go. So I can see, can you see that? You can see where this has popped out, but I'm not that worried about it. Okay, so then we're just going to add our silver embossing powder, like so. Whoopsie, just spilled that on my thing, but don't worry, can fix that. All right, so let's close up my ink pad. Let's put this back in first. Okay, and then let's gather this. Go, and then pop it in. There we go. Okay. Oh, I'm getting really messy tonight. Now I've got embossing powder on my hands, but never mind. Right, so let's bring out the embossing gun, warm that up, and then we'll just not quite warm yet. Actually, I needed to do another bit of stamping now that I think about it, so let's do that. I want to heat emboss as well. So I've got this little strip of cardstock, and this is left over from trimming my cardstock down to my standard sizes. So these are very handy for sentiment, so I always keep them. So I'm just going to stamp this right in the center, deck the holes. Now that's crooked, can you see that? So I'm just going to do it on the other side. There we go. So see, I didn't follow my own tip that time. Make sure I've got my "the" straight. Let's try that and see. Yep, that's better. Okay. And then bring our silver embossing powder again, like so. A bit more at the top there. Perfect. Okay, I'll try not to spill it this time. There we are. Whoops. Alrighty, now let's bring in our heat tool. Should have warmed up a little bit by now. There we go. Look at that. Don't know if you can see that on the camera when it turns. Yeah, I just love it. I never tire of it. There we go. And then we'll do our sentiment. Okay. Now we'll leave that to one side for a moment and we'll bring back in our piece. So let's sit down for this. So we're going to do some colouring, but we're going to use our ink pads and we're going to bring back in our blender pen. Okay, so we're going to use Real Red and Pool Party. So we just squeeze the lids together and that gives us a nice pool of ink in the lid of our ink pad. Okay, same with the Pool Party. There we go. And I'm just going to take my blender pen and again I'm just going to, just on the back here, I'm just going to scribble it to make sure that I don't have anything on there. Alright, so I'm just going to pick up a little in my ink pad and we're just going to colour. And the blender pen will just blend the colour around. Can you see that? Okay, and you can have it as light or as dark as you like, so you can go back in and add more to give you a bit more shading. Okay, I'm going to make that one. There we go, and then I'm going to just scribble off on the side. I'm going to do some red. I'm going to make this one up here red. Okay, so I'm going to add quite a lot at the top and then shade it down. And I'm using slightly circular motions because this is a bauble. So let me just add a little bit more. Move that down a bit so I can see it better. There we go. Okay. And then here, this is my favorite because the tip of the blender pen is so fine, you can actually color, and this is where the heat embossing is great as well. It really helps you to stay inside the lines, so you can add as much or as little. You could just color over this with just one color. You could color it with lots of different colors. It's entirely up to you how you do it. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same on this one. Red in the bits there. And it's really quite fast, faster than perhaps you'd think. That makes a really special card. Okay, just going to do my red on here. And you can see I'm not being particularly, whoa, I've gone outside the lines a bit there, but don't worry about that. I'm not being especially careful with this. I'm just colouring it in. Okay, and this is much better than watercolours because you've just got a lot more control. So again, I'm just going to scribble off until it's clear, and then I'm going to take our Pool Party and we're just going to fill in these details on all the others. I love red and Pool Party together for Christmas. Beautiful colour combination. Really, really lovely. Okay, same over here. Okay, and I'm just going to add some blue in here. And there we go. Very, very easy. Okay, now looking at that up close, there's just a few more bits that I want to adjust. I'm going to take my red, and I'm just going to add a bit more in certain places. There we go. Okay, and that's it. That's our colouring done. All right, so we close up our ink pads. So again, great way to just get an extra use out of your ink pads. It works on our new style ink pads too, although you have to press a little bit harder. The other way you could do it, if you wanted, if you found it difficult, sometimes some people find it hard to squeeze the pads, is you can simply take an ink pad and just put it on your, or a block, put it on your ink pad, and then you can use that to pick up colour and colour with in exactly the same way. Okay, so let me just colour that off, make sure it's clean for the next time, and we'll clean our block off as well. And close our ink pad up, because I'm having a messy night tonight. Alright, so there is one more, I'll do that at the end. Right, so now we're going to assemble our card, okay? So what we want to do is I want this to stand up, this red piece, okay? So I'm just going to flip this over and get my dimensional. I'm going to use my little ones, okay? No, I'm going to use my full-sized ones. So I'm going to put in the 4 corners, okay, like so, and then I'm going to put some here, okay, and then I'm going to take my small ones and just place them around the sides like that, and that's all so that my doily sits up, okay, and then I'm going to take my piece here. Just get this right. Just line this up. Now I'm going to do this bit next. Okay, so we're just going to, you can see that this is longer. Okay, and I've deliberately done that because it means I'm not having to stress about getting it right in the center of my piece. I can just trim it off. Okay, so then we're just going to lay that down. So if I need to move it to the left or right, it doesn't matter. Whereas if I'd cut this piece to the exact width of my panel, I'd have a lot less, it'd be a lot less forgiving if I hadn't got it exactly where I wanted it. Okay, oops. I'll just do that, and then we'll flip it over. Make sure that is actually straight. Is that straight? Yes. Okay, and now I'm going to take my pieces off the back of the red bit. Okay, but I am not going to take, I'm not going to take these 4 pieces off. Okay, and you'll see why in a minute. I'm not going to take these 4 pieces off, she says, and then she starts to take them off. Right, so now what I'm going to do is, remember, this was lined up to the top of here, and it's the same width. So all I need to do is just line them up. Okay, and there we have it. Okay, now I forgot to rub out my line, so I'm just going to quickly do that. There we go. All right, so now on the back you can see we've got this panel, these 2 and these 2. I want to put some glue on the back here. Okay. I could have done these two actually. It all depends on the size of your piece at the back. Where's my, let's pull this off. Doesn't want to come off now. It's gone back on. Never mind. You can manage with just one. It will still do the job. I'm not using it for sticking. It will still do the job of holding the panel up. Okay. Take this off. And then we'll place that down onto our card base. There we go. Okay, and then one final, whoops, frozen. Is it back again? I think so. Right, so one final touch is I'm going to make these pearls here. Okay, so I'm going to take the brush tip of my Dark Poppy Parade blend and I'm going to colour in 2 of my pearls. Like so. And then I'm just going to pop them off and then pop them down onto my card. Now I didn't wait quite long enough for that to dry, but I can get rid of that in a little bit, so I wouldn't worry too much. And there we go. Okay, so that's our 4th and final card. So you can see on my original I did deck the holes in red, and on here I heat embossed it in silver. So which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the red sentiment or the silver sentiment? While I wait for that, I'm just going to gather up some of the other samples and bits and the plays that I had to show you. Okay. Okay, let's have a look. Let's bring those down so you can see. Ooh, did everybody drop out for a minute? People seem to be coming back in again. Interesting. Right. Red. Well, Jude, now you know what you're going to choose on Wednesday. You can do red or embossed. It's up to you. Okay. Right, so with this doily shape, I showed you that you could do the cutout, and here's a card I made when I've actually cut out the doily, and then on the circle that was left behind I've stamped and coloured from this is our Spirited Snowmen, I think it's called. I just love this sentiment here. Added a little dot and our greeting at the bottom. So you can see this one you could use all year round for anything you like. It doesn't have to be Christmas, which is really, really cool. And then we have this one here. So this is another one of the dies, okay? And then this here is the one we used earlier on. And what I've done here, I don't know if you can you see the shimmer behind there? So that's vellum, and I've sponged Night of Navy ink onto it, and then when that's dried off, I've sponged some just champagne shimmer paint over the top, just give it that beautiful shimmer. And then a bit of ribbon. Night of Navy, another one of my favourite colours for Christmas. And then also with this one, I've got this idea from the catalogue, and these are some very non-traditional Christmas colours. So what I've done is I've done this stamp, and I've just stamped it in grey all the way across. And then on a separate scrap, I've just stamped it twice and heat embossed it, and then I've coloured it using Lemon Lime Twist and Blackberry Bliss. And then I've just used the die. So this die here cuts out all of those baubles all at once, which is really, really fantastic. So that's what I've done. I've just cut them out and then I've just put them on using dimensionals. So really, really like that. And then going back to the original, this big bauble, I did think about colouring it, but to be honest, I couldn't be bothered. Some people love colouring, and I enjoy colouring, but I don't like spending lots and lots of time on one image, especially something like that. So I did a few bits and pieces, a bit of a playing. So for this one, what I did was I heat embossed it in white, and then I did a bit of a watercolour wash using Night of Navy and Pool Party, just to give a very soft look, and then stamped those little stars around the edge. Okay, need to make these into cards. These are just fronts. And then here I stamped it just in black, Memento ink, and then I coloured it with my red Stampin' Blends. So I used my Poppy Parade and my Cherry Cobbler and my Real Red, various combinations to get that. And then I just painted over the top using my using some champagne shimmer paint and a sponge dauber to get that shimmer. And then I started playing with Brusho. So this is just heat embossed in gold, and that's our red Brusho inks. And I love this, my favourite. This is our blue Brusho. So what I do here is I heat embossed it, and then I put the water on here, and then just added tiny little flakes of Brusho and spread them around. It gives a lovely effect. And then this is copper and our yellow Brusho, which I really, really like. So I've still got to make those into cards. But just to give you some ideas, if you're not into very, very detailed colouring, you can still achieve some really lovely effects with that big bauble without colouring in all the detail. If you like your colour, go for it. If you like to do that, then that's all yours. Okay, so let's bring in the cards for tonight. So we've got this one, we've got this one, we've got the deck, this one. And then, what was the other one? Oh, here it is. And then we have this one. So do let me know in the comments which is your favourite. First, second, third, or fourth. Okay? Now, that's our cards for this evening. Just before you go, don't forget our 24-hour sale, which starts around midnight tonight. On my page, but I'll post a link again to it, is the list of all the stamp sets. Is something like 28 stamp sets or something that are on offer at 15% off for 24 hours only. So you got to act fast, do them as quick as you can, get in there. There's some fantastic sets, a really wide range of stamp sets from the annual catalogue in there, which are really well worth investing in. So do check out the post and let me know. And make sure to get yours, but also I'm just looking. Lynn, you can't say 1, 2, and 3. Oh dear, 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 dear. But yeah, anyway, so there are our cards for this week. Thank you again, everybody, for joining in. Oh, and thank you for all your hearts. And thank you, Anne, for your suggestions. I love it when you guys suggest stuff and we can have a play around. I'm trying to find out. Oh yeah, here. Here's that ribbon, where we put it through the corrugated embossing folder, and we got a lovely crinkled effect. Really, really lovely. So thank you again, everybody. Remember to share the video to win a pack of this gorgeous glitter flakes, perfect for Christmas cards. And I will see you all again next week. Good night.